Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Homestuck Squared Streams. That is right, we were going to do another Homestuck reread this weekend, but we got an update, so let's get this off. Okay. Not much in terms of community news for this week. Once again, waiting very patiently for the final volume of Pesterquest. Otherwise, it's been a little quiet, aside from this particular update. Yes, all of the tabs that I have open are to do with the update. They are not community news, so we'll touch on those a twee bit later. Yeah. Let's just get right into the update then. Why not? Okay, so actually, I'm just gonna have a little more water before we start, because I was a dumbass and I ate a fucking pepperoni stick before streaming, which was maybe not the smartest idea. But if you just give me one moment, thank you very much. Oh, whoops. Damn it, why do I keep forgetting to update the fucking title? Also, hi, Aleph. Stuck. There. This was a good one. It is. Oh, fuck, I gotta go back and fix the titles on the OneShot stream, too, because I just kind of went, fuck OneShot, because I forgot to change it again. Yeah, I mean, all of them are, but this especially. Oh, yes, this was some primo stuff. Oh, unrelated to Homestuck, you know what else was fucking primo? Was the new episodes of Steven Universe Future today. That, oh, ooh. Good shit. Okay, I've had water now, and I've updated the stream title. Chapter 6. A conversation regarding relevance. So, content warnings, discussions of suicide. Once again, when we get to that point, I will give y'all the heads up that it's coming. But we start in Meet Timeline with Alt Calliope. Oh, I haven't had to do my Callie voice in a while. See if I've still got this one down pat.
Space is vast. An unproductive statement, almost a tautology. Although tautologies can be a word. Ugh.
Let's try that again.
And although tautologies can be worthy thought exercises, they become virtually meaningless when it comes down to the actual transmission of information. I believe it is for that reason most beings don't use them in day-to-day parlance. The lives of the many are far too volatile and instinct-driven to want to waste time with saying that which is already true. Tautologies are, in general, reserved for stories, for narrative device, for finding new and inventive ways to tell an audience that which they already know, and at the end of the day, are not all diffusions of knowledge at least somewhat tautologist in nature? In order to recognize the value of my words, you must first know what they mean. You must predict my intentions. But I digress. Arguments with my brother would often dissolve into such nonsense. The shouting of truths back at each other, neither of us able to convince the other of the righteousness of our stance. We were never meant to agree. It isn't in our blood.
Hi, Max. Welcome. We're just getting started.
Space is vast. Everyone knows it, but most sentient beings in their many universes never have any way or reason to experience it firsthand. Even in societies advanced enough for spaceflight, most people will never leave their atmosphere. When they scoff at my tautology, space is vast, what do they really know? Nothing. As far as any of them have experienced, space does not exist.
There she be. I fucking love this page.
Very few have stood and looked into the abyss, the true gulf of nothingness that spreads out around the single point of consciousness adrift in a constellation. All the combined weight of sentient endeavor would quail underneath that sheer, irresistible truth. The realization that they are so small, that the universe cares about their puny lives so very little. Sitting in the glowing light of the stars, this becomes even more apparent. Are we out of orange juice?
All that philosophabble, space wank, and the conclusion is, are we out of orange juice? And there is Jade! My sweet Jade, not Alt Callie speaking through Jade. Yeah, I'm intrigued by where they're going with Alt Callie's character. And we can talk a little more about that for sure after this, because it's a really quite intriguing conversation that happens between these two. Which at this point in time involves orange juice. Are you talking to me? Because if you are, I would like to remind you that I hate orange juice. That's a mood. Same.
No, you don't.
Well, I guess I never really had a strong opinion on it before, but now I can't stand it. It's all you drink.
I like the pulp.
It's my body and I don't want orange juice. I hate pulp, and I didn't just make that up to spite you. Who wants strings in their juice?
I do.
Pulp is fucking disgusting. Pulp is fucking disgusting, squad. Please. Yes. Thank you, Aleph. Pulp is fucking disgusting. My dad and my brother like orange juice with pulp, and I don't fucking understand it. I don't generally like orange juice. Period. But like pulp in my juice? No. Yes. Thank you, Max. This is a no pulp zone. This is a pulp-free stream. Pulp in orange juice is just, why would you want that kind of texture in a liquid? Ugh. Yeah, Jade, yeah. Ugh.
I realize that Jade's situation is less than ideal from a characterization perspective, but I still politely point out that nobody likes a whiner.
Shut the fuck up, Alt Callie. Oh my god. Fuck you, rude calliope inside my head. From a characterization standpoint, I think you are pedantic, annoying, and just a general huge drag to be around. Why don't you try being possessed by the spirit of some other version of a good friend of yours and float it around a spaceship full of people you love, unable to affect anything or say hello to anyone? Then tell me about whiners.
I killed my brother and consumed him.
Sounds like a you problem. I think this is one of the best exchanges in this whole update.
I suggest to the witch that I have spent untold eons in the void between universes, waiting for the moment I would be needed to prevent the dissipation of reality as we know it. Her appeals to emotion will not help her. I will remain unmoved. Well, I had to watch my boyfriend and my brother die in front of me on a tiny scaled version of a world that I shrunk for them, and then spend the next 3 years talking to myself, racked with guilt that I'd killed them.
Queen shit. Fuck yeah. This shit hurted though. Oh my god. Because she's talking about the meteor journey. The retcon timeline meteor journey that we just never got talked about in Homestuck proper, at all, really. It was just kind of like, oh, this shit happened. Whoop. And then we just didn't go back to it. And it's like, hold up a second. And there she goes grabbing the fucking orange juice anyway.
I remind the witch that my time was in the void, which is far darker and lonelier than a ship full of lizards. I add that it was also eons, a length of time that is traditionally far longer than 3 years. I ask her to excuse my pettiness in pointing it out.
You're a member of a species designed for long periods of isolation. I'm a human, or at least I started out that way. Even if I had the powers of a first guardian, my brain still worked in modules of human pattern recognition. 3 years is a long time for a human teenager. I don't care how many of her molecules are made of a god.
I point out that this back and forth is becoming childish, and if...
Oh my god, stop narrating! Who are you even talking to?
The audience, of course.
And I saw a couple people point out that I think this is the first time that they directly address us as the audience, period. Audience? Ugh, this is so annoying. I can't tell if you're being serious. Your voice is impossible to read, and I can't see your face. And... Huh! These sprites are great. Look, she's so mad. She's just floating there holding the fucking orange juice. Oh. Well, thanks. That's better.
Of course.
Yeah. And down goes the orange juice. You're right. You're right that I am being silly, and I didn't mean to start a slap fight over who has suffered more. Clearly you have been through a lot more than I could ever possibly imagine. You're the same Callie who talked to me and Jane when we were unconscious back in the game, right? There's just a lot of everybody running around, and I guess I haven't been keeping the internal tally that I should have.
Yes, that's correct.
But I think it is a very natural thing to be silly when you are used to being able to control your own body, but now can't.
I will allow that, yes.
So I will stop yelling at you, but I reserve the right to start yelling again in the future if I have a good reason. Okay? Dirk and Alt Callie trying to force Homestuck into the... Jesus fuck. Terzi and Jade breaking this up with medium blending bullshit. Yeah, they're doing, the formatting stuff that they do here is really cool, for sure. You're not wrong, are you? I mean, yeah, you are probably correct. I generally steer myself away from thinking in virgin Chad binaries, but I think it's probably right.
That seems fair. Jade looks at me with the face I have looked at in the mirror for the last few months on board this vessel without a name. No one can decide what it should be called, possibly due to the comical nature of its construction. For a while there was an ongoing list of ideas hanging in the common room, but it quickly delved into a cluster of more and more obscure memes until one day the night tore it down in a fit of pique. Don't ask me to tell you which night. You know which one.
We all know for a fact that both Terzi and Jade had sex. Yes, that is also true. You know what I'm mad about now? I just realized I have not seen any fan art of this. I'm loving all the alt Callie and like Jade stuff, that especially that's like based off of, you know, the way this conversation continues. But like, please give me Carcat, because we all know it's Carcat. Carcat ripping them off the wall. Please give me some examples of what kind of ridiculous fucking names that they would have come up with for this ship. Like, that's what I'm here for. Along with, you know, Jade, who has stolen my heart. I love her so much.
Jade smiles. Daven Carcat will always be a source of pain for her, a low ache somewhere in her center of gravity, but she is happy for them. She knows that there is really no other alternative for how to be. They choose each other over her, and they always will. They are the two people who matter to her the most in every universe, and that will not change, no matter how much she wishes it would, no matter how...
Do you actually know that?
Pardon me?
Do you actually know that I'm doomed to pine over Daven Carcat across every iteration of reality? Like, can you actually see that? Because you're a space player, like I am. I know that you are more powerful than me, but I don't think you can see other timelines any better than I can. So I think you are just being dramatic. For the audience, whatever the heck that means. You like how Callie is having more, like, quirky traits in this, and she was way too serious in Homestuck and the Epilogues, and nobody should be allowed to take themselves seriously in Homestuck. Yeah, she's always played it very seriously, but like there's like this whole conversation, you know, she's snapping back a little bit, she's getting a little petty. Jade's doggy nose lets her sniff out bullshit. Now I'm thinking about the fucking Pesterquest route when Eridan beelines into talking about the human spectrum at MSP reader throat just literally immediately vomits on the fucking floor because it smells like bullshit. That was such a good fucking line. I think that's one of my favorite jokes in all of Pesterquest, even though I'm like pretty big emetophobe. That was fucking stellar execution. The snipe Carcat and orange juice, so good. Oh yes. But yeah, like she's pointing out, hey, what are you talking about here? How can you see all these timelines? How do you know that this is true? I don't know if you can hear me smacking my leg, but I'm doing that. I know you can hear that because I hear myself hitting the desk when I'm like going back and editing the fucking videos. OneShot from last Wednesday will be up probably on like Tuesday or something, just because I have a lot of schoolwork to do. And it is going to require a little bit more chopping than usual because there was like a whole bunch of like fucking around. Yeah. Jade. Call her out.
I experience a moment of unease as Jade looks at me. Keeping her out of my thoughts is proving to be more difficult than I had first assumed it would be. I had begun confident that I could keep her consciousness sleeping peacefully inside the shell of her body, tamed and what
the fuck is that word? Quiescent? We're gonna keep going.
But she has proved to be more irascible than I initially gave her credit for.
I have never been particularly tameable, and my consciousness is huge. That was a big dick joke. Oh my god, looking at Callie without the teeth sticking out feels so weird and wrong, but like this face is so perfect. You are a pretty tough crowd, evil Callie. Which is an interesting way to put that, especially because Callie has been posturing herself as, like, the good one versus Dirk. But, like, in this situation, like, to Jade, evil Callie checks the fuck out. But yes, I can hear most of what you are thinking to yourself. It took a little while to separate it from my own thoughts, just like it did with Dirk. Because that's what he was doing the whole time, wasn't it? Controlling our thoughts. Making us believe things we never would. Things he thought we should believe. Yeah, boy.
And here we are. I have been wondering when we would get to the prince and Jade's knowledge of the chaos he has wrought within this timeline, and who knows how many others. I assume she realizes exactly how many resources the prince put in keeping her still and asleep, firmly out of the game, so as to prevent granting me access to the universe in order to foil his campaign of endless debris. Jade knows all of this. I don't have to tell her. She is a very bright girl, and even if she didn't have partial access to my thoughts, she is good at compiling data and using it to fill in gaps. As she herself has rather licentiously mentioned, her brain is quite large. And all of these reasons are why I know I can count on her to be reasonable and realistic about her situation. I need a body to continue interfacing with this timeline, and her body is the only one that will do. I hear her wonder, what about Kanaya?
What about Kanaya? Hey!
What about her, Jade? She is a space player, it is true, but her powers are nothing compared to yours. For one, she isn't a god tier, and for two, she is dead. A living dead, but dead nonetheless. And as Sylph's specializations lie on a different end of the spectrum from my own, which is a far closer match. No, Jade understands and sympathizes with my assurance that her body and her body alone will do for my purposes.
No I don't. Okay, before we go over this, let me find it. Thingy. So... Whoops. I think I just accidentally clipped something. Anyway, that's not what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do was this. Whoop. There we go. This Pip did a good job answering ask. Because of course, wrong tab. Okay. Sylph specializations lie in a different end of the spectrum from my own. Which kind of, for anyone with a knowledge of class-specty things, lifts a bit of an eyebrow, because it's generally considered that Sylph is a passive while Witch is an active class, which is discussed here. Which is said to be... Well, we don't have that information, technically speaking, from the comic itself, but Sylph, by most class-specty analysis type things, is considered more passive. So you'd think that would be closer, given that Calliope is a muse, right? But there's an implication here that there's like a different spectrum at play when we're talking about class spect analysis, which I find pretty neat. Sorry, I'm just putting this link in my document. Anyone watching on YouTube at the moment, all links that are shown in the video, let me just do that, are also linked in the description. So, just before we keep going, because there's a whole other kerfuffle coming up. But yes, class spect things. Interesting. Shrimp-resting. I gotta fucking Google where that comes from, because I think it's fucking hilarious, but I have no idea where it's from. No I don't.
She does. After all, she would not wish this sort of state of being on anyone else, and especially not on one of her friends. Jade may have undergone a lopsided number of narrative hardships in her life, but at least she is used to them. Why spread that suffering to another? Jade understands and accepts her place in the story, which has always been to enable events to play out around her, just as it has been mine.
So this here is like, for all of Alt Callie's posturing that she doesn't do what Dirk does, that's exactly what she's doing here. She's trying to plant these thoughts in Jade's head that she understands and accepts why this has to be, you know? Sorry, that's just another email from school things. The school year's wrapping up, so everybody's panicking. Anyway. Well, I mean, there's panic for other reasons, but let's keep things light. Oh my god, I love this.
Because what is a story, truly? Nothing but a series of misadventures and connections, actions spurring reactions, tumbling into one another over and over and over. With so many competing interests, clearly the story cannot account for all perspectives or for all threads. It would be laughable, childish, even selfish to demand that they do. In other words, not everyone will achieve a happy ending. This is a truth that Jade has come to grips with a long time ago.
Wait, stop. Why are you saying all of this?
Jade's body is my vessel, and it is through this realization that she will understand her true role in the story, her true relevance. If I released my hold on her consciousness, there would be no guarantee that I would be allowed in again. Therefore, I cannot permit her the control of herself that she so desperately craves, and she understands that.
Wait, so you could give me my body back and then just hop back in when you need to?
In theory, yes.
Then what the hell, Callie?
Because I don't trust you to cooperate when the time comes.
Why not? I thought you said I was a reasonable girl with a huge brain.
You are, to an extent. She is. But the truth of the matter remains that humans are capricious and emotional, and even Jade herself can admit that she hasn't been the most committed example of her species in the last few years.
Oh. What is that supposed to mean?
Moving from lever to lever, job to job, interest to interest, over the last few years, Jade has found herself listless, unable to settle, and unwilling to commit to anything or anyone. She knows there's nothing wrong with that on a moral level, but on a personal level, she's always believed that she could be more, could do better, be better. And now, because of this, she realizes that sacrifices must be made, and that she, as a space player, is uniquely built for that sacrifice.
Oh my god. Okay. Sorry, y'all, these next few fucking paragraphs. Yeah, I guess you're right. I have been such a silly little slut. Hey, Callie. What a fucking line. I have been such a silly little slut. Whew.
Yes, Jade?
Oh my god, what's that?
She points off into the darkness. It's nothing, of course. There is nothing here besides the two of us. This space is utterly under my control. Jade could control it too, if she had any access to her own powers, but with my grip around her cortex, there is no chance of that. I know there is nothing behind me. She is being silly, but I'm not Dirk Strider. I don't mind indulging the whims of silly girls if it makes them feel better about their situations. There is nothing wrong with humoring.
So she's being all like, I'm not Dirk Strider. I don't mind. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. But she's being super fucking condescending about it the whole time. Oh, there's nothing wrong with humoring a silly girl. How is that any better than Dirk? Come the fuck on. Yeah, boy. Oh my god.
And here I make my first mistake. Up until this point, I have counted on my superior narrative power and class strength to keep her under control, but bringing her into a place where we can both physically manifest has left me foolishly vulnerable. When you are dealing with an epically powerful space player and former borderline omnipotent being, you forget that even with her powers stripped, she is still quite a formidable physical force. A young woman in the prime of her life, with a canine's instincts and the fierce desire to sink her teeth into something she can tear apart. And right now, that something happens to be me.
Hi, Gaster. Motherfucking miracles. I mean, I suppose in a sense that could apply to this situation. It's a pretty fucking sweet fist fight going on here.
Her fingers tear at my throat, trying to find purchase. She won't be able to kill me here, but it is certainly unpleasant, not to mention slightly repetitive. We just saw this in the previous chapter, although this particular fight will not end as amorously as the last one did, so don't get your hopes up.
Who are you talking to? And what a ruckus in the kitchen. I believe it is on the next frame that we start the discussions of suicide for the content warning stuff. But yeah, what a kick-ass panel though. I love those. Ooh. Okay, it's on the next page here, yeah.
During the ship's trip through space, there have been numerous experiments, modifications to the nutrition output of various machines designed to create sustenance for the various species on board. I myself have been content with orange juice and synthetic proteins, but Dave and Roxy have both expressed longing for various Earth snacks, and so the trials and errors began.
And yes, this is where we begin those discussions. Suicide threat. Oh boy.
The results were mixed. As Roxy told us in a previous chapter, alchemized food all sort of tastes the same, although the visuals really help to bring about the flavor. At the end of the day, isn't it the journey that's more important than the destination? The stories you tell as you create this strangely flavored nutritional paste?
Huh?
So far, everyone's favorite attempt has been a vaguely peanut butter and chocolate flavored creation called Rices. Nobody eats them, really. They just sit in a bowl on the counter.
So, once you hear... So, vaguely peanut butter and chocolate flavored creation. So, you're talking about, like, Reese's peanut butter cups.
I'm not actually sure what the witch is trying to accomplish here.
You don't? Really?
I don't know what she is trying to accomplish, because surely she would not be doing what it appears she is trying to do, making such a meaningless threat.
Meaningless? Meaningless? Do you even know anything about the body you stole? Shouldn't you have run some sort of psychic physical before you possessed it? It's definitely what I would have done.
Jade must know that I am well aware of her family-wide peanut allergy, a story thread that has been extremely important and weighed in on multiple parts of the narrative. How could I have forgotten such a key detail?
So they're now saying, it's not just the Crocker, Harley, Bert, Glish, however the fuck, you know what? The four of them, it's not just John and Jake with a peanut allergy. It is also Jade and Jane.
But of course Jade knows that. She is just being silly and dramatic. She knows that a suicide threat is utterly meaningless when made by a god. There is nothing remotely just or heroic about dying from self-imposed anaphylactic shock in the throes of a childish tantrum. At the most, I'll get a relaxing few minutes of sleep. Do you really want to risk it? What are you talking about, Jade? I just said... I don't know, Callie. I've never really understood the rules that govern the death of a god tier, have you? It seems pretty arbitrary from where I'm standing. Who makes the decision whether or not something is heroic or just?
Jade is Jake's kid and the allergy is hereditary. True. Yeah, it makes sense. This panel fucks. Oh, yes. Oh, hi, Jade. Welcome. Yeah, this panel mega fucks. I wish I could use this for the thumbnail. Actually, I might be able to make it work. I just wouldn't. Usually I pick panels where I can like layer the Homestuck squared title into the background, but maybe I could just put it at the bottom underneath her head. But then I'd have to see how much space there was left when I fix the aspect ratio to the correct dimensions. Anyway. Jade understands the narrative better than Callie. Yeah. That is what we're seeing at the moment. But yes, this panel fucks. I kind of want to like boost the contrast even if I use this for a thumbnail. Anyway, I'll stop talking about my YouTube babblings. But yeah, goddamn. Who makes the decision about whether or not something is heroic or just?
That's unclear, but it certainly isn't you. Right, of course not. But are you so confident that you're a good guy? Are you sure the Alpha timeline wants you to be here? What? You've done some stuff, Callie. I'm only saying you shouldn't be so quick to assume that me killing you wouldn't be just, and that taking my own life to do it wouldn't be heroic.
Boy. Just heroic. Just heroic. And that is the first sound page of the comic. Yay!
I don't let the witch manipulate me. I refuse to falter in the face of her whispers. Without my careful planning and swift action, the prince would have taken control over this timeline. None of my friends could even begin to imagine the turmoil.
They aren't your friends. You took them from me. Do you really think any of them would side with you over me? You keep saying that you're doing all this for my own good, but you're just lonely. I know you are, because so am I. If you are so utterly convinced of your virtue, then let me do this. You said that being a space player is all about sacrifice. Well, this panel also fucks. This might be a good one for the thumbnail too. Y'all, there's just so many good panels in here. Bet. Oh my god. So like, holy fucking shit. Chocolate, not just chocolate. It's a Reese's peanut butter cup. That's gonna anaphylactic shock all up in here. Oh my god. But hold up. Before she can take a bite. What's this transformation? And there's old Callie. Alone in her little void. Because she knew Jade was fucking right, so she fucked off. Max, what's on your mind? Wait, you fold? What are... No, let's... Or are you talking about Callie folding? Mr. Bushy really went off, huh? Oh, yes. Yeah, definitely. If you haven't read this, Callie folds. Yeah. No, that makes more sense. But yeah. Now, what was this? Right. So this was... Okay, let's look at this one first. Because someone made the comparison between Alt Callie sitting in her little void to Caliborn after John beats the shit out of him for making Homestuck. Yeah. But on another note of discussion, so if we take a look at this post, he's talking about how narrators have power over the dialogue boxes and how characters are named, which makes it interesting that Alt Calliope still refers to himself as Jade. Yeah, I love the example that they picked for this post too. The princess power grows. Jesus Christ. But yeah, so, and this, and like the projecting the feelings, I've seen some theorizing that like, I mean, like, to put it in colloquial terms, I've seen theorizing that Alt Callie is a Jade Kinney. Yeah. But yeah, so that was Homestuck Squared. There's one other update left for this month. Shit, it's still like not even midnight yet. Damn. Yeah, these Homestuck Squared chapters are a little bit, generally a little bit quicker than a normal stream to get through. But that's alright. So now we can look forward to seeing actual Jade interacting with everyone on the ship, which makes me so excited. I'm very excited to see Jade interacting with more people on the ship. Still waiting for Candy Rosemary, although we've definitely spent more time at this point in the meat timeline than the Candy timeline. But we're only 169 pages in. So at this point, you know, it's kind of hard to make any definitive judgments about where they're going with the story, just because, like, it's so early. Like, if their plans for this have an estimated 5-year running time, we only just getting started. But I'm hoping we can spend a little bit more time in Candy as well, in future updates. Which, of course, is weird coming from me, because Candy was not my favorite epilogue. I much preferred Meat, and Candy made me uncomfortable. But the way that they're writing it in here is a little different. And also the Meat timeline. They're spending a lot of time with Dirk and Rose babbling, and, like, not entirely my thing, but can't believe you're going to be a Homestuck for the rest of your life. I know, right? Like, I didn't realize when I started reading Homestuck at 14 that I had, like, locked myself into this shit for the rest of my fucking life. Yeah, insert "don't forget you're here forever" meme. Yeah. I'm still keeping my hopes up for some fucking Candy Rosemary. Or Candy Car Cat sometime soon. Because I think right now those are the things that I'm the most excited to see that we have not seen yet. So it's a long while earlier than we usually end streams, but that's the update. We got through the whole dang darn thing. And yeah, I have work from 10 to 2 tomorrow. My university has canceled all the classes, but I still have to go to work. Yeah. I kind of wanted to not really talk too much about coronavirus, because, you know, it's fucking talking about it everywhere. But that's what's up with me. I have to go to work tomorrow. Although I really don't think we're going to have that many people. I've sent my heart and my love out to anybody who's working at, like, a grocery store, a department store, any of those, you know, like a drugstore, any of those types of places, because goddamn, like, my dad just went out to do regular groceries today, and he was like, it's wild. Yeah. But, I mean, it was also wild today because, like, literally yesterday, the government of Ontario announced that they were going to keep schools closed for another 2 weeks after March break. So, and then just a whole bunch of other stuff has been like, we're canceling this, we're canceling that, we're doing da-da-da-da-da. Everything, like, the shit is, here in this province, our wonderful province of Ontario, the shit has hit the fan. You know, universities are all, you know, not doing classes and stuff like that. All my stuff is going online. Oh my god, y'all. My prof, the one prof who has sent out an contact, made a post saying how classes are going to be continuing. She has decided that the project that was due this Monday is optional for us to hand in, and that if we would still like to hand it in, we can fucking snail mail it to her. She wants us to snail mail her our assignments when she has a perfectly fucking functional email address. And she wants us to print out the project and send it via snail mail. Glad you're homeschooled right now. Yeah, it's you know, I'm sure it's advantageous at this point in time. But yeah, she wants us to... What if someone just doesn't have a printer? Well, I mean, everyone has to print their assignments for this class. That's the thing, is that, like, she has not taken online submissions for any of our assignments through this course. She has only accepted, like, copies physically handed into her during, like, the class. So, you know, like, that's... I already knew she was only accepting physical copies. But, like, in this situation, she's really asking us to fucking snail mail her our assignment? I'm just like, I do not fucking understand the thought process there. Like, if you really want a physical copy, then, like, print it out yourself. You're the fucking professor. I don't think the printing fees are gonna kill you. Like, I cannot believe some of the dumbest shit I ever heard. Like, I love this prof. You know, she's real nice. But y'all, you want me to fucking... Oh my god. Anyway, all this stuff's happening and I still gotta go to work tomorrow. I'm gonna see if I can potentially trade off my shift for next Wednesday. Yeah. Because I think I don't know, I'm like technically in one of the high risk groups because of my lupus, so like that sort of sucks. But like I work at a fucking, it's a children's clothing retailer, so I really don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of people tomorrow, especially because we're in like a box plaza, we're not in a mall. So I'm assuming it's going to be quieter than usual. And I'm working the shift with the one coworker who's been like super duper worried about this far longer than anyone else, and has been like, wiping down all the counters and the tables and like doing all the hand sanitizer. So like I feel like I'm gonna be all right for 4 hours tomorrow, but boy, it's a time. Yeah. That's how things are going up here. A lot of people are really unhappy with the suddenly announcing they're going to keep the schools closed for another 2 weeks after March break, because they haven't really announced. They kind of were like, surprise, and they haven't really said much about what they're going to be doing to help parents in this situation. Like, I don't know, giving like employment insurance so for people who need to stay home or whatever. Anyway, yeah. That's a life update. And that's what's happening in Ontario at the moment. I don't know a whole lot about what's happening in other places in Canada, or how these sorts of things are going in other places in the US, just because what's been happening here has been overwhelming enough that I haven't really looked anything else up. I feel like that's pretty fair. Y'all, I better fucking they better get their shit together so I can graduate this year. Anyway, that's that. I'm just gonna stop there. In brighter news, go watch Steven Universe Future if you haven't watched new episodes yet. That was some good shit. Fucked me up. Really fucked me up. Good shit. Go watch it. Okay. So it's midnight. As I mentioned, I have to be up a little early tomorrow because I have to go to fucking work. So, rather than doing anything else for another hour, I'm just gonna stop a little early today so I can be all rested up for tomorrow, because I also have to keep writing a case study assignment that's due on Monday. It's due for an online course, so everything was already online. There's no concessions there. They're still fully expecting me to have my shit done on time. And what is this from Max? What? Oh, Steven Universe. Got it. Yes. No, that's precisely it. It fucked me up, but in the best way. Steven Universe Future has been really, really great. I think it's going to be a fantastic conclusion to the series, and I'm very excited for what episodes the next couple of weeks will bring us. Yes, I did. Steven Universe. God. It is sad to see Steven Universe ending, but it's also like good to get like a solid conclusion from something, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it is only 2 more weeks of episodes from Steven Universe Future. At some point after this is all over, I want to rewatch the whole thing from the beginning, because it's just a good fucking show. It's just a good fucking show. But yes, I'm gonna go to bed. Basically, I'm gonna try and get some sleep. I'll leave you with this link, which made me laugh, even though I feel kind of like a bad person for laughing at it. It is relevant to the newest episode of Steven Universe. So, but it does not contain any footage from the newest episode. But anyway, that's just a fun one for y'all. Have a wonderful rest of your day, whatever you may be getting up to. I will be streaming again tomorrow evening. That will be a regular Homestuck reread stream. And yeah, thanks so much for hanging out. Wishing you all the best in the coming weeks of wild shit going on. Yeah. Fingers crossed, I will be seeing you all right back here for that Homestuck reread tomorrow. Thanks for being chill, and good night.